The story follows Detective Keith Frazier as he responds to a bank robbery in the middle of Manhattan. What first looks like a normal hostage situation slowly reveals a much deeper plan tied to a hidden crime from the past. As the standoff drags on, every move raises the stakes while the real goal stays hidden.
My name is Dalton Russell.
Dalton Russell explains how he carried out a bank robbery, calmly introducing himself as the mind behind a perfect crime. He and his crew arrive at Manhattan Trust Bank on a busy Wall Street morning, disguised as painters in work clothes and carrying supplies. Their appearance is ordinary enough to draw no attention as they enter the building. Once inside, Dalton quickly disables the security cameras while his team seals the exits. The situation shifts instantly as employees and customers are forced to the floor at gunpoint. The group moves with controlled precision. Outside, a police officer notices smoke coming from the bank and approaches cautiously. Dalton appears and informs him that hostages are being held and that any police advance will result in deaths. The officer calls for backup, and soon the bank is surrounded by police vehicles as a crowd gathers and news spreads.
Anybody gets in our way gets a bullet in the brain.
Arthur Case, the powerful owner of the bank, is notified of the robbery, his reaction marked by visible concern. At the scene, negotiators Keith Frazier and Bill Mitchell are assigned to the case. The responding officer briefs them, explaining that the number of robbers is unclear and the number of hostages unknown, making the situation especially unstable.
Number 32, 20 Exchange Place.
Which one?
That 357 sticking in my face, I can't really be sure, I'm sorry.
Inside the bank, Dalton tightens control. The hostages are separated into employees and customers, and everyone is ordered to surrender phones and keys. When one employee claims he does not have his phone, Dalton calls him using another device and locates it in the room behind him, exposing the lie and reinforcing his authority.
Where's your cell phone?
I'm telling you I did. I left it at home.
Dalton immediately attacks the man in front of everyone, making it clear that any resistance will be punished. The room falls silent as the message sinks in, and another hostage quickly hands over his keys, visibly shaking. Dalton then orders all hostages to strip to their underwear and put on identical jumpsuits and masks supplied by the robbers. Once everyone looks the same, it becomes impossible to distinguish hostages from the crew, spreading fear and confusion as people realize they are being used to disguise the robbers.
I need all of you to put on one of these suits and these masks.
An elderly bank employee begins showing signs of a heart problem, struggling to breathe and clutching his chest. After briefly weighing the risk, Dalton allows him to leave, avoiding a medical emergency that could disrupt the plan. The man exits the bank and is taken into police custody.
Put down your f***ing weapon! Don't move! Don't move! Don't move!
Inside, the robbers move past the vault and safety deposit boxes without taking anything, confusing both hostages and employees. Instead, they focus on an unexplained task in a storage area, suggesting the robbery is aimed at something specific. Police question the freed hostage, still shaken. He reports that there are 4 robbers inside and warns they are serious and willing to kill hostages if police interfere. While his account raises alarm, officers remain cautious, aware that fear may have limited what he observed. Outside, Captain Darius updates the negotiators, explaining that the testimony helps but leaves major gaps. With the cameras disabled almost immediately, the police have no visual information and are forced to operate blindly.
Says they came in dressed as painters.
Arthur contacts Madeline White, a professional fixer known for handling sensitive problems, and asks her to secure a specific safety deposit box containing a valuable family item. He refuses to explain what is inside, despite her warning that withholding information could cancel their arrangement. He agrees to her terms, insisting that no one touch the box and that it either remain locked or disappear.
That nobody ever touch my safe deposit box.
Mitchell turns his attention to a suspected getaway van after a released hostage mentions the robbers arrived disguised as painters. He checks the vehicle for fingerprints, though he expects it to be stolen. Frazier, growing impatient, tries calling the bank, but Dalton ignores the ringing phone. Shortly after, another hostage is released with a box strapped to his chest.
Now, easy.
I can see him, I got a clear shot.
Any weapons?
Police mistakenly treat him as a threat, tackling and restraining him in front of the crowd. Once the confusion is cleared, the man confirms there are 4 robbers and estimates dozens of hostages remain inside. Madeline visits the mayor and asks for a favor to be placed on the bank robbery operation. He refuses, but she pressures him until he agrees.
Bring me down there and tell whoever's in charge to extend me every courtesy.
The box contains a note demanding buses and a jet by a set time and threatens that hostages will be killed one by one if the demands are not met. As the standoff continues, Arthur Case unexpectedly appears at the police command center and offers to help arrange a plane for the robbers. This immediately raises suspicion. He apologizes, claiming he misunderstood what was needed, and officers tell him they will reach out if he can assist. He is then escorted away.
Might be of some assistance.
Inside the bank, the robbers request food for the hostages. Frazier sees this as an opportunity to gather intelligence. Police arrange the delivery to appear routine while secretly placing a small recording device inside the pizza boxes. Officers activate it, knowing it will only capture a brief window of sound.
We ready with the listening devices?
I'm gonna need 15 minutes once we get the food.
Before the food arrives, tension rises when one hostage openly challenges the robbers. Dalton responds immediately, ordering his team to punish him. The man is dragged through the building as others listen in silence and is eventually locked alone in a storage room. When the pizzas are delivered, the robbers accept them without suspicion. Police review the recording, expecting useful information, but instead hear a language they do not recognize as English. It initially sounds like Russian, leading detectives to question released hostages about what they heard. Meanwhile, the robbers continue moving hostages between rooms, deliberately confusing the police. One robber even blends in by posing as a hostage.
Any Russian or Russian accents when they were in there. We'll be all right.
A Russian-speaking officer later reviews the audio and confirms it is not Russian, leaving Frazier and his team without clear answers. Frazier plays the recording over loudspeakers outside the bank, hoping someone in the crowd will recognize the language. A construction worker claims it sounds like Albanian, explaining that his former wife and her family spoke it. With no better option, Frazier has police locate the woman.
She's 100% Albanian.
100%.
100%.
She agrees to help only if her unpaid parking tickets are cleared, and Frazier reluctantly agrees. When she hears the audio, she laughs and explains it is not a conversation at all, but a recorded speech by a former Albanian communist leader. The robbers had planted a meaningless recording to mislead the police. Frazier is irritated but admits to Mitchell that the crew is far more calculated than typical criminals.
They knew we were going to bug them. They knew how. Makes it even worse. They wanted us to bug them.
Inside the bank, Dalton and an accomplice finally access the vault. They remove a specific set of documents from a box containing diamonds and paperwork. Dalton keeps the documents, then carefully reseals the vault so it appears largely undisturbed. Around the same time, the mayor arrives at the command center, accompanied by Madeline White. Madeline gives vague explanations for her presence, presenting herself as a problem solver. Frazier is immediately wary and resists her attempts to influence the operation. As the mayor and Madeline hint at political consequences, Frazier senses she is hiding something, but knows he must proceed carefully.
I can't share with you.
Later, Dalton finally answers the phone and speaks directly with Frazier. He repeats his demands and threatens the hostages if police fail to comply. Frazier presses for information while trying to slow the situation, but Dalton offers nothing useful and clearly enjoys controlling the exchange. Frazier extends the standoff by offering more food, which Dalton accepts, this time requesting sandwiches.
Pretty good. This guy's nuts.
While police focus on negotiations, the robbers continue their real work. In a storage room, they finish digging a hole central to their plan, with Dalton supervising every step. Outside, police remain unaware of what is happening inside the building. Frazier calls Dalton with Madeline's request. Using her calm, persuasive approach, she convinces him to agree to a face-to-face meeting inside the bank, escalating the situation further.
Come on in.
When Madeline enters the bank, the robbers thoroughly search her before bringing her to Dalton. She presents an offer designed to corner him, proposing a reduced prison sentence and a large sum of money in exchange for a specific safety deposit box. Dalton shows no interest and instead reveals what the box contains.
Random people were being stripped of everything they owned.
He explains it holds documents exposing Arthur Case's involvement in financial crimes tied to Nazi collaborators during World War II, including money laundering and profiting from stolen Jewish assets. Dalton makes it clear these papers protect him, ensuring Arthur and Madeline would never allow him to be killed if he were captured. The revelation leaves Madeline shaken, though she conceals her reaction.
Murder will out.
Precisely.
Now, I still don't get what you're doing here.
Inside Man became the highest-grossing movie of Spike Lee's career at the time of its release. The film was shot on real New York City locations, including Wall Street, to give the story an authentic setting. After leaving the bank, Madeline speaks with Frazier and describes Dalton as highly intelligent and unlikely to harm hostages despite his threats. Frazier takes this in, growing more certain that Dalton's plan goes beyond a typical robbery. Believing standard tactics will fail, Frazier takes a risk. He contacts Dalton and agrees to help arrange the plane, but only if he is allowed inside the bank to see the hostages. After a pause, Dalton agrees.
Meet me at the front door.
Inside, Dalton leads Frazier through the bank. The hostages, all dressed alike, sit together calmly with no visible injuries. Frazier notices a young boy among them and asks for the child's release, but Dalton refuses without hostility. As they near the exit, Frazier suddenly tries to pull off Dalton's mask. Another robber stops him immediately, pushing Frazier back. Dalton warns him not to try again and repeats his demands for transportation.
Buses, Kojak, parked outside.
Back at the command center, Frazier tells Captain Darius that Dalton does not behave like someone intent on killing. He urges patience and restraint, suggesting they wait to see Dalton's next move. Darius, however, grows increasingly impatient as the situation destabilizes.
The type. Let's just step back and think about this for a second.
Dalton calls again and orders police to aim their cameras at a specific window where they appear to witness him killing a hostage on live video. The command center erupts. Captain Coughlin immediately removes Frazier from the case and takes control. He orders a tactical assault using rubber bullets to limit fatalities, though the risk remains high. Mitchell warns that if the raid fails, Frazier will be blamed. Frazier remains composed and tells Mitchell he has an arrangement with Madeline, without explaining further. As the assault nears, Frazier uncovers a critical detail. The robbers have been monitoring police communications through a hidden transmitter planted in an earlier box. He urgently warns Darius, but Darius ignores the alert and proceeds. Inside the bank, Dalton hears the preparations and calmly signals his team to begin the final phase. Smoke bombs fill the building. In the chaos, the robbers blend in with the hostages as everyone is released at once. Each person is detained outside, but no one can be clearly identified. After clearing the building, police find no robbers, no stolen property, and no dead hostage. The execution was staged, and the weapons are revealed to be realistic replicas. With everyone dressed identically, separating criminals from victims proves impossible. Captain Coughlin declares the case closed, claiming there is nothing left to pursue. Frazier disagrees and continues investigating on his own.
And no, I don't want to know.
Reviewing the case later, Frazier finds a reference to a secret safety deposit box linked to Arthur Case. He begins connecting the robbery to Madeline and Arthur's behavior. He confronts Madeline with evidence of blackmail involving her and the mayor, pressing her for answers about the box. She remains calm, offers only vague hints, and urges him to drop the matter. Later, Madeline reassures Arthur that Frazier is no longer a threat, but warns him that Dalton still controls the documents.
I think Mr. Case really took that sentiment to heart.
Arthur finally admits the truth. Along with diamonds and records, the box contained a Cartier ring taken from a Jewish man Arthur betrayed to the Nazis during World War II. The confession reveals the full weight of his past and explains Dalton's true motive.
You don't have to tell me. There's only one thing it could be, anyway.
A week after the robbery, the final piece falls into place. Dalton never escaped during the chaos. He hid behind a false wall in the storage room while police search the bank and question hostages. After the attention fades, he walks out the front door unnoticed, carrying the documents and diamonds. When Frazier and Mitchell arrive with a court order to open the safety deposit box, Frazier unknowingly passes Dalton on the street. Dalton's partners wait nearby. He joins them and disappears into the city. Inside the vault, Frazier opens the box, believing it will confirm everything Dalton set in motion. Instead, the safety deposit box holds no documents and no diamonds. Inside are a piece of gum, the Cartier ring, and a handwritten note from Dalton telling him to follow the ring. Holding both items, Frazier begins to understand the true purpose of the robbery. It was never about profit, but about exposing a crime buried for decades and forcing accountability. Refusing to let the matter rest, Frazier confronts Arthur Case in his office. Arthur tries to remain calm, but Fraser's careful, pointed questions clearly unsettle him. Without making a direct accusation, Fraser steers the conversation toward the idea that the robbery was tied to something far darker than theft. Arthur acknowledges Fraser's skill, and Fraser leaves, having said enough. He later meets with Madeline, tells her he has figured everything out, and asks for the promotion she promised. She agrees, and he walks away.
This is the number on the war crimes issues.
Later back in his apartment, Fraser discovers a small diamond in his pocket. He realizes Dalton must have planted it on him during their brief encounter at the bank. Fraser studies the diamond, recognizing it as a final gesture, either a reward or a reminder. He sets it down, reflecting on the quiet understanding between himself and Dalton. Outside, the city continues on, unaware of what has been uncovered. And with that, the story ends. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more of the best film recaps.